Why? I can't believe you barely have time for me this month. I'm tired of being alone, left in this big mansion. Feeling like I'm invisible to you, Jungkook. I don't have time for you. Don't you understand how demanding my work is? It's not easy being the head of the mafia. I have responsibilities. The luxurious mansion belonging to Jungkook is immersed in the dark night. The tension between him and his wife Bayan is palpable as the argument heats up. She is frustrated, feeling neglected due to his busy schedule and lack of time spent together this month. Him tired from his workload and arriving home not long ago also chimes in. Fine. Responsibilities, so I am just another responsibility to you. I am your wife and I shouldn't have to beg for your attention, just like a needy child. He snaps back, his voice rising in frustration. Jungkook, don't start with that. You know exactly what I mean. I have been working tirelessly to protect and provide for you. Vian, provide for me? Sure, I have a luxurious life, but what's the point if I am constantly alone? Money can't replace your presence, Jungkook. Jungkook, I have always given you attention, but this month has been particularly demanding. I have been swamped with work, responsibilities, and you know that. It's not easy being the mafia king, and you choose now to complain about not getting enough attention. Vian, you know what? Fuck you, Jungkook. I can't take this anymore. She storms out of the mansion, her frustration reaching its peak. She gets into the car, slamming the door behind her as she started the engine. He runs his finger through his hair, frustration etched on his face. He unbuttoned the top two buttons of his shirt, revealing a tantalizing glimpse of his hard, muscular chest. The fabric strained against his. He takes a deep, calming breath as he steps outside the mansion. He stretches purposefully towards his heavy bike. The sound of his footsteps echoing in the night. The bike's imposing presence matches his demeanor, a symbol of his mafia power and dominance. He looked at his bike, muttering to himself, Jungkook, my fairy woman, let's go, love. Our woman is angry. He runs his hand through his hair, then put on his helmet, securing it tightly. He takes out his phone, checks something quickly, and without a second thought, he swings his leg over the bike and fires it up with a roar. He revs the engine, his powerful noise reverberating through the night before he peels away, riding at full speed. On the other hand, she is driving alone on the empty streets at night. Her emotions are flame. She pushed the pedal to the metal. The car engine roars, matching the turmoil within her. Her grip on steering wheel is tight, knuckles turning white from the force. Her heart clenches as a powerful bike suddenly pulls up beside her car, traveling at full speed. She turns her gaze towards the person and can recognize the person with blindfold who he was. It was Jungkook. His gaze fixed on her. When you Jimin, she exclaims. He lifts his helmet, his gaze fixed on Ryan, a hint of amusement in his eyes. Jungkook, my fiery woman, I can't have you angry at me, he says, his voice stinging with a mixture of tease and affection. She huffs, trying to maintain her anger, but deep within her, she feels her anger starts to wane. She knows how much he loves her and how demanding his responsibilities have been lately, despite her efforts to stay mad. Her heart melts slightly, but she speeds up because she knows he anyways gonna come behind her. He smirks, his eyes trained on her as she speaks ahead. Instead of trying to match her speed, he chooses to trail behind her, maintaining a safe distance. His bike pours beneath him as he keeps a watchful eye on his fairy woman, enjoying the chase. After some time, she finally comes to a stop. She steps out of the car, her frustration slowly melting into understanding. He pulls up beside her on his bike and kills the engine. His gaze fixed on her. She gazed back at him. Her earlier anger replaced with a mixture of emotions, remains of frustration, and perhaps even a hint of guilt. She fits with her heel, scraping the road as they stand here, facing each other in the silence of the night. He shakes his head, a fond yet exasperated smile on his face. He sets his helmet aside and slowly centers towards her. His footsteps are measured. Each step closes the distance between them. His gaze never leaves her. His eyes soften with a mixture of affection and a hint of apology. As he approached, he reached out a hand and brushed a strand of hair away from her face. His touch gentle. Jungkook, you're not going to stay mad at me all night, are you? He teased, a hint of warmth in his voice. She looks back at him, her gaze softening. Despite her best effort, she can't resist the warmth in his voice, and a trace of smile tugs at the corner of her lips. Fine, I'm still mad, she replies, her voice barely above a whisper. He chuckles softly, his hand still lingering near her face. Jungkook, of course you are still mad, you're always mad. When you don't get your way, he teased, his tone playful. He chuckled softly. She narrowed her eyes and pouted, trying to maintain her facade of anger, but it's getting harder with each passing second. Vine, shut up, she retorts, but there's no real bite in her voice. He chuckles, his smile widening at her response. He leans in slightly, eyes sparkling with affection. Jungkook, okay, as you say, my queen, he replies, his voice dripping with playful charm. She rolls her eyes, trying to hide the fact that his words are having an effect on her. Vine, you always know how to diffuse my anger, don't you? She retorts, her tone slightly sulky. Jungkook, oh, sweetheart, I have my ways, he says, his voice low and smooth. He moves closer, closing the last distance between them. She rolls her eyes one last time before giving in to her emotions. She pulls him towards her and wraps her arms around him in a tight hug, burying her face in his chest. He wraps his arms around her, pulling her closer. He rests his chin on top of her head, the familiar scent of her hair filling the senses. He tightens his embrace, his voice soft and sincere. Jungkook, I am sorry I don't give you the time and attention I should have. He admits, his voice tinged with a hint of guilt. I miss you like hell. He continues, nuzzling her hair lovingly. But I will make it up to you. We are going on a vacation, wherever you want, as an apology. She smiles softly, a touch of sheepishness in her expression. Why, I'm sorry too. She begins, her voice quieter now. I overreact when you were already tired after a day's work. He gently lifts her chin, making her meet his gaze. His touch is tender as he tilts her face upwards him. Jungkook, it's okay, he reassures her, his voice warm and forgiving. We both have our moments, but I am glad we talked it out.